今こそ輝け我が未来その可能性ストライドジェネレーション。
Hello everyone, this is Professor 095 back with another deck profile. This time will be the Chronojet D deck profile, which if you have seen the previous video, which is I did the Chronojet Strike deck set unboxing. So this time around I've edited with my I've edited some of my real cards in. So now some of the cards, this is completely changed. I wouldn't say like completely changed. I still keep some of the cards in there, but like I wouldn't say huge chunk. I've removed some, I've added some, but at the moment in real life this is my best possible deck list, like the Chronojet deck list that I can showcase to you. So yeah, so without further ado, let's get straight started to, well, not before the deck profile yet. So yeah, so this is the Chronojet deck. It's purely very nice. It's kind of like meta-ish at the moment, tier A at best. I wouldn't call it a tier S. I mean, it's not a really tier 0 deck, and it's still beatable. But it's really like a top contenders. Like you can compete against Seraph, you can compete against Nirvana, you can compete against like Youthberg and whatnot. So it's like neck to neck with some of the top decks out there. Of course, this deck is I lost to Gravity a lot of times, like in real life when I'm playing with my friends around. So yeah, so that's the pros of it. Well, the pros of it is that it's a high powered deck. It hits for like at maximum 4, but it really can hit huge numbers. And so there's that. The cons of it is that your resource management has to be really efficient, and you have to be like very like the timing of like how to manage your resources, such as like your souls and your counterblast, and it's extremely important in this deck as well. So I will also introduce to you some of, like, I will also recommend to you some of the variations that you can put into this deck in order for this deck to be better. I believe my deck at this point is not completely like 100% perfect, but this is what I'm going with at the moment, and I believe that in the near future, once I can get sufficient cards and whatnot, I think this will be the it will be a much more better deck. Yeah, so that I will leave that for at the near end of this video. But without further ado, let's get straight into the deck profile. So first things first, we'll introduce the right line. So we will move this aside. So we'll introduce the right line, which is the first things first will be Chronodragon. Of course, Chronodragon will be our starter. He will be this boy over here. And now Chronodragon skill is that when this unit is being raided upon, if you go second, you draw one, so which is quite nice. I like the blink. You can see the Dark States Castle over there, Chronodragon, and he's a Zodiac time beast, and yeah, your usual 6k. So Chronodragon will be your starter, because it's gonna be very important. You cannot run any other starter other than Chronodragon because of this next card, which is Gear Dragon. Gear Dragon will be your great one in this red line. So the skill is that when this unit rides over Chronodragon, you draw one and you get the crest. Now crest here, which I will get into, is really important, and this is the crest will be the card that will carry this deck the entire way through. In this deck, right? So it's very important that you have your starter as Chronodragon, and then you get to draw one thanks to draw one. So if you go second, you already draw two, so which is nice. So you have Gear Dragon over here, and I guess I'll get to the crest first, right? So this is the crest. So this is your license to strike, your license to strike. And they will, like I said before, this card will carry you all the way through in like most games. So it has 4 skills. So the first skill is that like you are able to strike, which is the strike is that when both players are great, you can strike into Great Force, the G zones. So which I will get into, and you cannot write any other grade 3 or greater cards with Chronojet in its card name. And the second skill is that it's continuous. All of your grade 3 Chronojets your original's base power will be 13k, so it will be also included as hard cuts as well. Why 13k? I'll show you why. And the third skill is that if you have a grade 3 or greater Chronojet Vanguard during your turn, all of your front row units gets 5k for each cut in your, for each face-up cut in your G zone. So as the game progresses, as the game stalls longer and you strike more, you power up even more. So which is quite nice. The more you strike, the longer you can drag out, the better. So which is quite nice. So this is where the high power comes in. And so the last power. The last skill is auto skill. At the beginning of your battle phase, you choose one. You choose one of your grade or greater rear guards, and you can increase or decrease the grade to 0. So it's for the timely purposes, and it's also like for Faterider, which is like oops. Well, I'm gonna like sorry about that. Okay, so there's like a lot of like engine. Multi-attack engine thanks to this crest. So yeah, this will be the crest that Chronojet is gonna come with. So this is what you're gonna get. Alright, so moving on, we'll go to Smoke Gear Dragon. So Smoke Gear Dragon skill is that when this unit is ridden by a grade 3 Chronojet, so you Soul Blast one and search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 everywhere and put it to your hand. So yeah, you can find Balif, you can find Chronojet, so which is really important in order for you to get a cost for you to strike. So last but not least, the main ace of this deck is Chronojet Dragon. So Chronojet Dragon is skill is that continuous and auto Vanguard skill. GB2, when this unit attacks the Vanguard during this battle, this unit gets 5k and your opponents cannot call grade 1 or greater cards from their hand to the Guardian Circle. So it essentially is just like a Sentinel Restrict and a block grade 2, which is quite nice. And the second skill is that auto Vanguard skill, and it's an auto Vanguard skill. During your turn, when your G unit strike, you may counter blast 1 to pay the cost and choose one of your opponent's rear guard and return to the bottom of your deck in any order. So you might realize why I want to play this original Chronojet skill. Not because it's this card, not because it's for like nostalgic purposes, not only because it's for nostalgic purposes, but it's the same skill as the Chronojets that came with this Strike deck set. So it's the exact same skill. So of course you can play any of the TD previous TD Chronojets, so which is quite nice. So if you realize this is the original ones, will be 11k. So with thanks to the crest, it will become a 13k originally, so which is quite nice. So this will be the main ace of this deck, Chronojet Dragon. So with the right line done, I'm gonna move that aside. So we're gonna move straight into the deck itself. So we're gonna move straight into the deck itself, and first things first I will play is that it's the Chronojet Dragon. So this is the one from the second Chronojet TD, and this is doing the time lead version, I think. Yeah, so and I played the foil version of that, and yeah, the non-foil version of the Chronojet that comes with. As you can see, they are all 11k and they are all the same skill. So yeah, Chronojet is really important in this deck for me, because it's I think when you when you strike to next stage, it requires you to discard a Chronojet card in your hand. So Chronojet is really important for you to be in your hand by the time you want to strike to the next stage. So you cannot strike to next stage with any other grade 3 or any other card. You have to discard a grade 3 or greater card with Chronojet. So that's it. So 3 Chronojets, I think that's self-explanatory. That's that. So the next card the next grade 3 I'll be playing is Steam Fighter Balif. So Balif is pretty good. It's a 13k base, and Balif's skill is that on GB2 continuous, on the rear guard circle, at any point that when either one of the player's rear guards returns to the bottom of your guard, this unit gets a 10k. So essentially he's a 23k beater at GB2, so which is quite nice. I like it. And so the second skill is that when this unit is discarded for the cost of from your hand as a cost for strike, you draw 1. So essentially it's like a Vanguard 0 skill where you strike and then you draw 1. So Balif is like the same thing. So quite nice. I like it. For Balif, definitely. Right, so grade 3's done. So we're going to move to the grade 2s, which is the first grade 2 we'll be playing is Upstream Dragon. So Upstream is going to be very, very important in this deck. So Upstream is rear guard, is a auto rearguard skill on GB1. When this unit attacks the vanguard during this battle, this unit plus 5k, and then at the end of the battle, he will return to the bottom of your deck, search your deck for up to 1 grade 1 and call it to the back row rearguard circle. Not as rest as you may, not as rest as like the original upstream, the OG upstream attacks for like plus 4k, so he's a 13k, and then he has to call a grade 1 to any of the rearguard circles but as rest. So this time round he can attack for plus 5k, so it's actually a 15k beater, and he can call to grade 1 but not as rest, but he has to call to the back row rearguard. So no, it's quite nice. So you can call out a lot of cards with this card, with like upstream, like you can call out GG, you can call out Gear Zero and whatnot, and other relevant cards that you might think of. Good grade ones, which I will get into the recommendations later on, but yeah, there's a lot of like core targets with upstream, so it's quite nice as well. So I play 4 of that. I play 4 of him. Okay, so this might be really comes to a surprise for some of you, but I'm playing this what we call the mystical accordionist. So mystical accordionist skill is that accordionist skill is that when this unit is discarded from your hand during your right phase, you may boost your card to the soul. I think for the purposes of like I just want to get the soul engine, just because I can keep the soul charge engine there as much as possible, because like I want to use skills such as like GG, which I can soul blast 2 and draw 1, so this helps to fill in the soul. But otherwise, if you don't feel like playing it, I have other recommendations, which again I'll get into later, but this one is what I'm playing for now, because like at the big I can right face, I can just throw this card and then just shove it in the soul, thereby giving me increase in the soul count for me to like use GG skill. So that's that. Alright, so I think the grade 2s are done, so we're moving on to the grade 1s. So grade 1s, of course, we are playing, we'll move this aside for now. We'll play 3 of Steam Maiden Arlim. So Steam Maiden Arlim is the effect PGs, not the usual standard PGs with like no, like you cannot you can only like discard 1 card if you have like 2 or more. But essentially, Arlim skill is that it is a PG, it is a Sentinel, it is a perfect guard. So, but it's the skill where if your hand has 2 or more cards, you choose one if your hand and discard it, which means that if you have like 1 card left to like say for example defend, you don't have to discard anything. So if you have like the 1 last PG, you don't have to discard a hand. Usually you have to, but yeah, I think this is Arlim is the best girl. I'm glad she's back to D, so no more ugly dragon PGs, I guess. Yeah, I played 3 of Arlim, and the last PG I'm playing, Sentinel I'm playing, this is also a Sentinel, is Elementaria. I think that's the name, I forgot. Alright, so this the crate element, the crate elemental like Blitz Order Sentinel, you can only have 1 copy of this deck, so always remember that. So it's a Sentinel, and then the skill is that if your opponent originally has triple drive, so which means that if you're up against any grade 4s that originally has triple drive, you don't have to discard, you don't have to pay the cost to like discard 1 card from your hand in order for you to play like perfect guard. So after you're done using it, you have to remove this card. Like after you're done protecting yourself, you have to get rid of this card. So 1 is enough. Well, 1, of course 1 is enough, because like you have to only play 1, so I'm playing just 1 of these at the moment. Blitz Order, quite good. And so yeah, alright, so moving on to the next great ones, which is Steam Breath Dragon. Now, Steam Breath Dragon's skill is like essentially like your back in the old days strike fodder, because the first skill is that during your hand, if you want to pay the cost for your strike, this will be regarded as grade 3. So I play 4 is because it's consistently giving me the consistency for me to like strike every turn. So in case that where I don't get Baleaf or that I don't get Chronojet, Steam Breath can help me, but of course I can only strike to Faterider if that's the case. Yeah, but anyways, that's the first skill. The second skill is that mean face, and this is also in the hand as well. You will if you have a Chronojet Crest, you will discard this card from your hand and search your deck or your drop zone for 1 Chronojet Dragon, grade 3 or greater Chronojet Dragon, and put it to your hand and shuffle your deck. If you search your drop zone, you don't have to shuffle, but if you search your deck, you have to shuffle. But yeah, I'm playing 4 Steam Breath as of this moment, so yeah, definitely it helps me to strike, definitely helps me to find Chronojet in order for me to strike the next stage, so I play 4, so that's quite nice. So moving on to the next grade 4, we have Gear Zero. I forgot what his full name is. I think what the Magnetic Resonance Gear Zero or something. Alright, I think that's the name. Alright, so the first skill is that continuous rearguard skill. At any point, it's the same skill as Balif. At any point that if there's any other rearguards that has been, any player rearguards that has returned to the bottom of the deck, this unit gets 5k. So he's a 13k attacker and a 13k booster, so which is nice. Second skill, continuous rearguard GB1. When this unit this unit gets intercept, and he can intercept from the back row, therefore you can well increase your defenses, if one might say. So if we could use upstream and call Gear Zero to the back row, therefore he can attack, he can like intercept from back row as well, therefore you don't have to like be afraid of like not having great tools for in front of you to intercept. Gear Zero can help you intercept, but I'm playing 4 at the moment because I think he's really good and he's very viable at this moment in my deck. So I'm playing 4 of Gear Zero as well. So the next and last but not least, the next great one I'll be playing is 3 Steam Scara GG. So GG skill is very good. So when this unit is placed on the rearguard circle, if you have a Chronojet Dragon Crest, you Soul Blast 2 to draw 1, and if this unit is called by a card ability, this unit gets 5k. So the 5k bonus is a very nice touch as well. The Soul Blast 2 is the the same repeating effect during the OG era days, where she have to like call to the rearguard circle and like Soul Blast 2 just for you to draw 1. But the difference is that now she's an 8k, so now if you call her by card effects such as like upstream or like Faterider, she gets that 5k bonus, which is quite nice. So now she becomes a 13k attacker and a booster, and she this card allows you for the draw engine. But bear in mind, I play 3 of her. It's because, well, honestly saying, this deck doesn't have like a lot of sufficient cards that can help me to soul charge, except for like Accordionist and whatnot. But again, with the variations that may come in, you may want to tag her at 4, and there's like a lot of variations of how you want to play around her. But GG is very good because of her draw engine and her power up if you want to call her by upstream or for a Faterider. So I play 3 of her at the moment. I won't play 4. I think there's like a lot of like moments there where I don't have soul. And if you don't have soul and you can't draw, it's kind of like waste. But yeah, nonetheless. Alright, now we are done with the normal units. We're going straight to the trigger units. So I'm playing like Steam Deviant Dragon. So Steam Deviant Dragon skill is that at the end of this battle that this unit boosts, is a crit. You move this to the soul and you choose off your units at plus 2k. Again, this card helps me to like increase my soul count in order for you to tag in like to use GG skill. So Soul Blast 2 to draw 1. Yeah, so I play 4, and also it's a Gear Chronicle aesthetic, so why not, right? So play 4 crits. 8 crits to be in fact. So we have Steam Deviant and I'm playing 4 Lively Breath. It's just a vanilla crit, so yeah, I'm playing 8 crits at the moment. Side note, I do not play fronts because I feel like fronts are like a little bit inconsistent because of like during like Faterider's turn, I have to like move in, move back, and front is not as pressuring as I thought. Critical is way more pressuring and it's way more dangerous to my opponents as well, especially like quite good where Chronojet attacks with like with his GB2 and opponent's counter sentinel, so I want to finish the game as fast as possible by playing 8 crits, so swing as much crits as possible, right? So I will not play fronts, but if you want to play fronts, play Natalia, the one that gets an increase of the 5k like 5k shield. But for me, I play 8 crits. I will not play 4 fronts. Yep, that's that, and then I'll play the Steam Scara Marunigal. Okay, so Marunigal is just your standard vanilla gear aesthetic, also gear aesthetic heal trigger. So I only played the 15k shield this time round, but because like I felt like most of my games I went up, there's not much I can do with like increasing the 15k shield, like the effect, like the heal effect triggers where you can, it's like an anti-crit and an anti-restand. I felt like that those two heal triggers just don't really work for me most of the time, so I opt to the 15k shield instead. But if you do want to play, I play like one of each, like one for the anti-crit, one for the anti-restand, and two for the vanilla purposes because of the 15k shield. So yeah, I'll play 4 of the vanilla heals and that's it. Right, so the next card I'll be playing is the trigger will be 3 Rileys, so 3 draw triggers, which is the 10k shield draw trigger, so plus another 5k if like 5k shield if your opponent is like grade 3 or greater. So I play 3 at the moment. I don't feel like, you know, decking out, but you could play 4 draws, and 7 crits 4 draws is quite nice, but I play 3 at the moment, so yeah, there's that. And last but not least, the OT, and this is the over trigger, Darkseid's over trigger. I've what's his name again? Goruma Girudo. Is a very long ass name. Yeah, but I played the Darkseid's over trigger because one thing for sure, if I drive check this card, and it gets the additional effect, which at the end during this fight, my Vanguard all of my Vanguards will get 10k 1 crit. So imagine Chronojet's going to swing you for like a 28k with a critical and with no sentinel. That's the part where it's scary. So he's very good for this. Like this Darkseid's over trigger is very good for Chronojet. So I'll play him like for real. Right. Alright. So that's all for my main deck at the moment. So with that aside, we're gonna move to straight to the G zone. Now G zone, they'll give you like the previous strike deck set video. They'll only give you 4 of each, which is Nextage and Faterider. Wait, hold on. Sorry about that. Which is like Faterider and Nextage. So they'll give you like 4 copies of each. But let's start with Faterider first. So Faterider's skill is that the first skill is just a stress, so you don't have to like care about it. But Faterider's skill is that when this unit attacks a Vanguard, you counterblast 1 and turn 1 card in your G zone face up, and choose one of your rear guards, return it to the bottom of your deck, search your deck for up to 1 grade higher and call it to the rear guard circle, and choose one of your units, doesn't have to be the unit that you've called, and that unit gets 5k for each of your face up open G zone. Yeah, during that turn, and you get a 5k for each of your face-up cards in your G-Zone, so which is quite nice. So one thing, so Faterider will be your first strike, and this will be the card that can help you to like flip out like all the G-Zones in order for you to increase that power turn by turn. So Faterider is quite nice, and you can have like there's like a lot of like targets you can return to. So for example, if you are like choose grade 3, so this is where the crest comes in. So if like say for example, if I call a Balif or I call a Chronojet at the beginning of the battle phase, that becomes a grade 0, grade 3 attacks, and then you swing with Faterider, and then you choose that grade 3, return to the bottom of the deck and call the grade 1, and therefore and if you flip 1 G unit face up, and then you choose 1 unit gets 5k for, let's say for example, if I give that 1 unit plus 5k, and also thanks to the crest I get another additional 5k thanks to that crest, therefore increasing my power, because for each face-up card in my G-Zone, this unit plus 5k, so it gets additional 10k already when I call that new unit out. So which is quite nice. Faterider, it's I'm showing the SP version, so this is the triple red TD version. Yeah, 4 of Fateriders, so he will be your first strike, and the second strike will be Chronodragon Nextage. Yes, your boy Nextage has returned, and now he is back more powerful than ever, more pog than ever. So the skill Chronodragon Nextage skill is that you have to discard 1 Chronojet. That's the part I've mentioned earlier. So if you want to strike in the next stage, you have to discard 1 grade 3 or greater Chronojet from your hand, grade 3 or greater Chronojet from your hand. You cannot strike with anything else. You cannot strike with Balif, you cannot strike with strike him with Balif, you cannot strike into him with Steam Breath, so you only Chronojet, so which justifies my deck list. And so the second skill, that's the first skill, right? So the second skill at the end of the battle, this is auto. At the end of the battle, that this unit attacks the Vanguard, you counterblast 1 and discard 2 cards from your hand and return this card to the G unit face up and stand, choose one of your Chronojet, grade 3 or greater Chronojet hard card and restand it. So, and quite nice. So essentially it's like a mix of like the new it's like the mix of like old Nextage and the new V Nextage. I think it's like, but mostly V Nextage because you have to discard 2, because originally in the G series version you have to persona flip and you have to discard 3. This time round you have to discard 2 and you just have to return him face up and no persona flip is required, so which is quite nice. I love him. I'm glad that he has returned. So this is the TD version, this is the SP version. So now that he's back, prepare for like a very wacky premium deck list at the near point in the future. But yeah, Chronodragon Nextage is also like one of your big guns in this deck. So Faterider, Chronodragon Nextage, and that's that. Alright, so now we are done with the deck list. You might be asking like what other variations I can play with, like what other variations that I can go with. So first things first, we will have Legio Wildmaster Darius. So why am I playing this card in the first place, right? Especially there is this Grade 2 gaming right now with Chronojet, that because if you essentially go first, then you don't get to strike first. Therefore, they want most players I've seen, most players I've talked to have now like started to play the Grade 2 gaming, and in order for you to like go to the Grade 3 last, like you'll be the second player to go to Grade 3 first, therefore ensuring you to like strike early. But in the case that where you go first, then we go to the Grade 2 gaming where you can like rush your opponent with Grade 2. So this is one of the few cards that I think is really good for like that Grade 2 gaming. I play Darius. You can play Darius because number one, when he attacks you, if your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, therefore he is Grade 3 first, not me. You can counterblast 1 and you get to Soul Charge 1, which is the Soul Charge engine, and then this unit gets 5k, so 15k attacker. And if you have 3 or more other regards, this unit gets 10k instead of 5k. So early game on, if you can swing for like 20k, and then if you have another Darius, you can swing for like 20k. So quite nice. You can increase, like if you have 2 Darius, you can Soul Charge 2 already, and therefore you can like swing. Darius is quite nice, but you have to be very aware of your counterblast, so be careful with that. Tread really carefully. Darius is good for that gaming. Next one will be Friend of the Underworld Link. Link I think is also a very good card because it also increases your soul count. Thanks to her skill, which is that when this unit is placed on the rear guard circle, you look at the top 2 cards of the deck, 1 to the soul and 1 to the bottom of the deck. So you can do a little bit of like filtering and increasing your soul count. I think she's quite good as well, but keep in mind that she's a Grade 1, so well, adjust your ratios properly. If you can see my deck is only like 8 Grade 2s and like a lot of Grade 1s, so just do be very careful like adjusting your ratios when you want to like get tag in some of the variations I may be mentioning here. And the third card I'll be recommending will be Eden. As I know, you might be wondering why I'm be recommending Eden, but there are some deck lists popping up here and there, especially like in WGP, in Bushra Spring Fest, where I actually saw people playing this card. It's also for the Grade 2 gaming purposes, and so the skill is a continuous rearguard circle. If you're in Final Rush, which we are not gonna use, we're gonna have to skip using that skill because Chronojet does not allow you to have Final Rush, so we can skip that. But people will be playing it for the second skill, which is the auto skill. The second skill, the auto rearguard. When this unit attack hits, counterblast 1, you choose one to your opponent's rearguard and retire it. So this kind of helps you gives you an advantage in situations where if your opponent in like most matches, especially like if you're facing against rearguards or units that are very annoying. For example, like Brainwash Swirler is one of them, or like any other annoying prison cards that minus 5k. You can just hit this attack hit and counterblast 1, and you get to retire that card. So Eden is good for retiring purposes and for the Grade 2 gaming purposes, but in Other purposes, I don't think he's really good in like what most people would not play Eden, but if you want to retire like your opponent rear guards, feel free, go ahead and whatnot. Right, and especially in a mirror match, so if you like, if opponent gets to call like a lot of brainwash thrillers thanks to their Fateriders like Chronojet versus Chronojet mirror match, they'll definitely have to call a brainwash thriller, and if you manage to like return to a brainwash thriller at the bottom of your deck, that doesn't solve the problem, therefore you have to retire it. So I can understand, and there are justifications for some players why they are playing this. So yeah, Eden is the one. Alright, so the next one is Gugurnam, Steam Battle Gugurnam. This is basically just GG with extra steps. So when this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle, you get to Soul Charge 1, also you can increase your soul count, and once returned main phase in on act, Rearguard Circle you Soul Blast 3 and draw 1 card. So you don't have to call, like you don't have like on place, it doesn't have an on place. But it's also good for you to have like Soul Blast 3 and draw 1. So this is also one of the few cards that I've seen some people will play in that Gear Chronicle deck, in this deck list. So next one will be Turn Fracture Dragon. Turn Fracture Dragon skill is a grade 2, which when this unit attacks hits the Vanguard, you will choose one card from your hand. You have to draw one card and choose one card from your hand and put it to your soul, thereby filtering, increasing your soul count, and you get to draw one. So you have the draw engine going, and it's also like very good at 10k, so you do what you want with it. I think it's also like good that some people are playing this card, so I can recommend it as well. And it's also a Gear Chronicle and Static, so yeah, if you want to like draw more, draw into your Chronojets or like draw into your triggers for defensive purposes and like increasing your soul count, and just for shenanigans like for Argandia or GG, it's quite good as well. So next one will be Jewel Core. Now Jewel Core, I've seen some people will play not because of the first skill, it's because of the second skill, which also increase your soul count. The skill is that at the end of when this unit attacks or boosts, this unit gets 5k, and then at the end of the battle, you move this card to the soul. This effect is mandatory, so this is the 13k attacker, 13k booster, so you can just like at the end of the battle that he does boost or attack, he moves to the soul, and well, increasing your soul count, so you can rush your opponents with like the grade 1 gaming as well. So 13k, because it's quite nice, so it's really good. You can play Jewel Core. I've seen some people play it, but if you don't want to play it, yeah, well, too bad. Alright. Well, next card I can recommend to you is Falcate. Falcate Summon, I think Falcate, not Falcate Summoner. Well, Falcate Performer, right? Falcate Performer skill is that when this unit boosts, you choose one card from your drop zone, and you choose one card from your drop zone and move it, that card to your soul if your soul does not have that certain grade. So let's sorry, my throat's getting a little bit dry over here. Alright, so what does this mean? So when Falcate boosts, you choose a card from your drop zone and move it to the soul if you do not have like a certain grade in your soul. So that's so for example, if my soul doesn't have a grade 1, so when Falcate boosts, you can move the grade 1 to the soul as well. So you thereby also increasing your soul count. I think it's also like good for you to for Falcate to be in this deck too. But yeah, some people play it, some people don't. But yeah, it's getting a little bit expensive right now, Falcate, because he's also quite good in Liquid, in decks like Liquid. So expect him to be like really like increase in price. Argandia is also one of the next few cards that I can recommend to you. So when this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle, you Soul Blast 1, and during this battle this unit gets 5k shield. So it's a 10k shield, but if you have a face-up card in your G-Zone, this unit gets another 10k shield instead of 5k. So it's a 15k shield, which is quite nice. So this is why like most of the cards I've been recommending to you has been like revolving around souls. So if you do not have, if you don't want to use the souls for GG, at least you can use the souls for Argandia. So this is the purpose for me to like play, like recommending to you some of these cards. But I don't play Argandia, but this deck will subject to change. But I guess at the moment this is the best one, best at the moment. So Argandia is like one of the variations and other like other things that you can tag into if you don't feel like my deck list is perfect. But yeah, Argandia is great. Steam Mage Ashura is also good because the first skill, it's because of the second skill. When this unit is retired from the Guardian Circle, you may put this card to your soul, which therefore increase your soul count. But the first skill is that, well, I don't think you can like reach the first skill, which is like continuous Guardian Circle if your soul has 7 or more cards. I'm not sure if Chronojet can reach 7 cards, but he gets a 5k shield if you have like 7 or more cards in your soul. But you can try to like increase your soul, therefore like gets that extra 5k shield. But if not, Ashura can also help you to like increase your soul count in the instance where you don't get to have like in the case that if you don't have enough soul for like Arcandia or GG or whatever shenanigans that you need to do with Soul Blast. Last but not least, Brainwash Thriller. Now, Brainwash Thriller is such a very staple cards I've seen in almost all Chronojet decks at this moment. So I've seen people won WGPs, like top WGPs and Bushiroad Springfest cards, or whatsoever tournaments with this card because he is very good. And fortunately, he is very hard to find and he's very expensive to find. Here in Malaysia, he's already really cost 200 ringgit per card. So you can imagine the pain of like players trying to look for this card and playing it in Chronojet. But nonetheless, Brainwash Thriller skill is so good because of the first skill. Number one, the first skill is the auto. When this unit plays a rear guard circle, and you can get to like Soul Charge 1, so which is quite nice. Second skill, when this unit is when your card is put in your soul by Soul Charge effect, not by any other like means of like moving to the soul such Ashura, because Ashura doesn't have Soul Charge. This one doesn't explicitly Soul Charge, this one doesn't explicitly say Soul Charge, but as long as you have any other cards that can help you to Soul Charge, if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit gets 5k until end of turn. So it can stack. That means that if you Soul Charge through this turn, he becomes like an 18k booster attacker. If you Soul Charge 3, he becomes a 15k. He gets another 15k, so it's quite nice. So there are a lot of cards here that can like increase like your soul. But like I think Guggenheim is also that one card. Okay, sorry, my bad of the message. So Guggenheim is like one of that few cards that you can Soul Charge. Maybe not her. Darius, yeah, you could. Darius can Soul Charge. So a lot of things you can do when you can like try to Soul Charge and therefore increase your power. Added with the crest itself, it's gonna be super crazy for this deck like, to power up as well. I think with Brainwash Thriller you can already reach like 30, 40k, 50k even, or even 60k if in a Fate Rider turn if you have like 3 or 4 of face up G-Zones by then. So quite nice. Brainwash Thriller, definitely get him in this deck if you can, but get him at your own risk because this is a very expensive card to find. So tread at your own risk. So yeah, that's that. Anyways, now that I'm done like explaining about the whole deck list, so this will be what are my final thoughts of this deck? Well, final thoughts of this deck is that number one is already quite a meta deck already at this moment. So I need to increase my lighting for a bit. Alright, so it's such a meta deck at the moment. Tier A, Tier 1 can compete with like huge decks. If you've seen it popping out in tournaments once in a while, well, almost all the time, because of the crest, thanks to the crest carrying it. And I'm very glad that Chronojet is back because like I've been like, I've been like lamenting to say that when are Ducks sorry, excuse me, when is Duckston going to get a Chronojet like a Gear Chronicle based right. The moment when I asked that, they came out with like Bushiroad came out with this Chronojet Stride deck list, and I could not be more happier because I have been a Gear Chronicle main ever since I started Vanguard. So from the very first day I played Vanguard, Gear Chronicle is my main deck, and I'm so happy that he's back in Standard. So yeah, that aside, I think he is very good in like he's very versatile, and with all of the recommendations you can pump your engines like even better. You want the Soul Charge engine for you to draw, you want the Soul Charge him just for the defense purposes, and he can also hit high numbers, and he can also have like a little bit of like a control, which is nice. I love him. I really kind of like love him to come back. So I'm really glad that he's here in D, and now I can play him to my heart's content. So if you really want to play Chronojet, and this is the list that if you are happy with this list, I would recommend you to feel free to go ahead. But otherwise, if you don't feel like it, like if you don't like my deck list, you can also like use some of the variations and put it in this deck and see how it goes for you. Of course, all deck building is subject to trial and error, but this is the best the best variation of like deck list that I can get at the moment, because I don't have Brainwash Slither because it's so expensive to find. So you could call this a budget build in a sense. So yeah, that's all for my final remarks. Get yourself a Chronojet if you want to. If you're a huge fan of Gear Chronicle, if you're a huge fan of like Dark States, Gear Aesthetics, get him. So yeah, that's that. And yeah, I don't think I have anything much to comment, so I think that's all for my deck profile. I would really thank you guys for watching from this video, so do like and subscribe, and see you guys on the next video, I guess. Alright, so this has been Professor Ino 095 signing out. See you.